So good morning. Welcome to Not Your Daughter's Yoga on Tuesday, September 21st. I'm going to lead us through a nice, gentle, restorative, but strengthening balancing class. So you can go ahead and make your way onto your mat. Hopefully you have some blocks, a strap, and maybe a rolled blanket or a bolster or an oversized throw pillow. So when you make your way down onto your back, you may want to just lift your hips ever so slightly off the mat and settle them back down so that you have lots of room for your lower back, your lumbar region. And you may want to stretch straight out, or you might prefer to actually plant your feet a little wider than hip width apart and then gently relax your knees in towards each other so that they can support each other in a nice restorative laying down fashion. Once you come onto your mat and you've assumed a comfortable position, I'd like you to take some big breaths, really nice big breaths, all the way down to the bottom of the lungs, imaging your lungs filling up with air like a couple of big balloons. Holding it when you get to the top, when you're totally full with air, just hold it for a moment and then sigh it out. And as you do that, I'd like you to imagine that you're just letting go of everything that you don't need for this practice. So letting go of distraction, letting go of busyness, letting go of whatever it is you have to do later. It can all wait. Let go of tension. Let go of expectations. Just with each inhale, filling up and then letting it go. Let it all go, because we don't need that stuff when we're on our mat. We can all wait. So one more big breath. Remember, you can sigh it out because no one can hear you anyway. Just let it all go. And then you can begin to tune into your practice breath. So taking nice steady inhales through the nose to the count of 4, hold for a moment, and then exhale through the nose. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. Find a pace that works for you. Could be a little faster or a little slower than the cadence I've suggested. Doesn't matter as long as it feels right and you know that you are breathing with ease and moving your breath efficiently. And once you turn into your practice breath, you can also start to tune your attention toward your body. So checking in, starting with the toes, just noticing how the toes are feeling, maybe wiggle them a little bit. And then you can point and flex your feet a little bit. Moving up to the ankles, you could gently lift your feet and maybe circle one ankle at a time, going in one direction and then reversing direction. And set that foot down and then lift the other one. Ankle circles one direction and then the other direction. Letting your legs rest, but perhaps just flexing the quads for just a moment and loosening. You could gently rock your legs back and forth a little bit, just getting some movement in there. Tense the calf muscles up, release, tense the quads up, release, and gently shift the hips a little bit. Just maybe a little rocking motion. Scanning the belly, making sure that the belly is nice and soft, that we're not holding tension there. If you find that you are, maybe try another deep inhale, side out. Let that belly be soft. Your chest is broad, shoulders down away from the ears. You could shrug your shoulders up for a second and then push them down. Shrug them up, push them down. Arms are relaxed. Bend the arms slightly and then allow your arms to relax down again. And take it some circles with the wrists. And then circle the other way. And ball the fists up and release. And again, make little fists and release. Letting your attention come to your throat and neck, clearing the throat. Gently turn the head back and forth a little bit. And allowing the jaw to relax. So if you notice that your teeth are together, separate the biting surfaces of your teeth. You could open your mouth a few times, just open and close like you're a guppy. And feel that tension leave your jaw. Your brows should feel nice and relaxed, and your head should feel warm, heavy. No resistance there, just letting your head totally relax. So you've checked in, you've noticed how you're feeling without judgment. Turn your attention briefly back to your breath. Just make sure that it's flowing nice and freely. Good rhythm for you. And then you can gently bring yourself over on your side, lying on your right side and pausing there. And then gently bringing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. So we're sitting up nice and tall. Your legs could be crossed or they could be extended out in front of you. Either one is fine. Just make sure that your tailbone is planted down, and then you're imagining a long line right to the top of your head. There's an invisible string there, and it's pulling you straight up like a puppet. So you're very tall. Shoulders are broad, down away from the ears. Hands can just relax beside you. Take an inhale to get really tall. Exhale, gently duck the head forward and down. Noticing that range of movement. And then inhale, come back up, looking gently up. Again, just noticing the range of motion, but not judging and not pushing. Coming back to center, head comes down. Inhale, coming back up. And then bringing the head back to center. And coming down again, pausing at the bottom. And then we'll take some head and neck circles ever so slowly and gently. Pausing anywhere where you feel like you could benefit from a little extra attention. And when it's feeling right on one side, then you can reverse direction and go the other way. And then your head can come back up to center. We'll take the left hand, so I'll mirror you, up and over. Lie that hand gently on the ear, and then allow the weight of your hand to just let your head come over to the side and giving a little traction so that the right side of the neck can get long. You're not pulling your head, but just using that natural weight. Push the shoulder down in the opposite direction so that you're getting a nice long stretch there. Breathing into it. And you can release, and then on the right arm, up and over. Again, letting that weight provide traction. Head coming over to the right, pushing the left shoulder down and away. Good. And we will bring our arms out into a T. You can bring your left arm underneath your right. Your choice. Continue to wrap for eagle arms or bring the hands onto the shoulders. In either case, push those elbows up and out. You can duck your head forward and down, round in the upper spine. Breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. I'm going to have plenty of help from my feline assistant here. He is feeling like he needs to be close to me today. And you can open your arms wide. And this time you'll bring the left arm under the right. Again, your choice. Eagle arms or hands to shoulders, pushing the elbows up, head ducks forward and down. Breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. Sorry, my cat is really being quite something. When he wants attention, he really wants attention. One more big breath. And release. Let's just release that by taking a few nice big arm circles. Going in one direction. Ooh, I can feel that. I can hear it. Snap, crackle, pop. And then gently reversing the motion. Getting nice and big circles here and taking them slow. And then you can bring your hands down to your side. Take your left hand down beside you on the floor. Walk it out to the side, stretching the right arm up and over. Nice big side stretch here. If this is feeling good, awesome. Just make sure that you're pushing the hip down away in the opposite direction, so that you're really expanding the rib cage. If you wanted to go a little deeper, you could try bending your support arm. Just make sure you keep the opposite hip right down on the mat. Big breath. And gently walk that hand in, coming back up to center, taking the right hand down, walking it out to the side, reaching up and over with the left. Again, making sure that left hip pushes down in the opposite direction and stays in contact with your mat. And again, if you want to go deeper, try bending the support arm a little bit. Make sure the head and neck stay relaxed too. And then coming back upright. You can do this with your legs crossed, or if you prefer, legs stretched out in front of you. Sorry, Haruki. Sorry, bud. There we go. So sitting up nice and tall. If you are taking this from legs out position, I want you to plant the left foot, have a bit of fist width between the legs. Make sure that that right leg, the foot is flexed, toes are peeling upward. And then you can bring the right hand to the outside of the left knee, left hand behind. Inhale to get tall. Exhale, twist. As you twist, just try and soften into it. Put in less effort if possible. Loosen the head and neck. See if you can get that twist coming right from the base of the spine. And you can release. We'll set up for the other side. So if you are doing legs extended, just make sure that the left leg, the toes are really peeled back. Bring your hand to the outside of the knee, the right hand behind you. Inhale, think about getting tall. Exhale, twist to the side. Again, check in with the head and neck. Make sure they stay loose. Get that twist happening right from the base of the spine. One last breath. And then you can release, stretch both your legs out in front of you and bring them together. Peel the toes back toward you, sitting up nice and tall. You can have your hands at your side. Gently walk those hands forward, coming into a very relaxed forward fold. It's almost like you're coming into ragdoll, only from sitting. So you're not actively really reaching towards the toes. You're just allowing your torso to come forward and finding the edge of that sensation, just saying a little hello to the hamstrings. Make sure those toes stay active and peeling back toward you. That helps with the engagement of the hamstrings. And exhale, you can roll back up. We'll bring our legs around the side and come on to all fours, setting up for cat and cow. So you can generally have your hands below your shoulders unless you have shoulder discomfort, in which case bring your hands out slightly further. Knees are underneath hips, and knees and hands are both narrow hip width apart. On your inhale, drop your belly, raise your hips, look forward and possibly up depending on your range. Nice big inhale. Exhale, reverse the motion. Push up between the shoulder blades. Drop the hips and head. Really breathing into space between the shoulder blades. Inhale. Coming back to cow. Head looks forward, maybe up. Exhale, reverse the motion. Arching that spine. Inhale, belly down, head forward. Exhale, reverse the motion. Take a few more rounds of cat and cow with your own breath. If you like, you could add some lateral movement in. I like to move my feet to the right and look over my right shoulder for a second, and then move them to the left, look over the left shoulder. Not necessary, but just an option for you. You could add in some rolling movement in the hips. Get quite funky with it if you want. One more round. And just meet us back in a neutral tabletop position. We're going to turn the toes under and then walk your hands back, coming into a foot stretch here. So depending on the amount of sensation, you may be able to bring your hands onto your thighs and come straight up, or you may prefer to stay a little further forward. So find position that works for you and just allow the feet to get that nice big stretch. You can put your right arm forward, left hand goes up and over, taking a hold of the right fingertips, gently pulling those fingertips back while also thrusting the heel of the hand forward to get a nice stretch through the carpal tunnel area. Flip that hand over so that you're pushing the wrist forward, gently pulling the fingertips back, getting a stretch through the top of the forearm. And you can release that, shake it out. We're going to come down for a second. Just release that foot stretch for a second. Gently tap your feet on the mat. Just release, and then we'll go in for round two. So again, turning the toes under, walking the hands back, maybe coming upright. We can reach the left arm forward with the right fingers, pulling the left fingers back, thrusting the heel of the hand forward. And then flip the hand over. So pushing the wrist forward, gently pulling the left fingers back. And you can release, shake it out on that side. And then again, coming back into table, untuck the toes, flutter the feet against the mat. Oh, that feels nice, that release. Excellent. I'll give you the modification for downward facing dog on the knees. So if you're going to take downward facing dog for your sun salutations from knees, set your hands about a foot forward of where they would normally be. Open your heart toward the ground. Toes can turn under. See how close you can get your chest toward the ground. So your big heart opening. Puppy alternative, if you'd like to come onto your feet for downward facing dog, you can hike your hips up and back. So in either case, you're really opening your chest toward the ground. Big deep breaths. One more big inhale. On your exhale, begin to make your way onto your feet in a way that makes sense for you. So we'll all meet up at the top of the mat, rolling up to stand nice and tall. So your feet are narrow hip width apart. Your abdomen is engaged, shoulders are broad, hands can relax down at the sides. Inhale, arms overhead. Your fingertips are ahead of your head, so you're not straight upright. So your fingertips are tracking slightly ahead. You may be able to look up toward your fingertips. On an exhale, swan dive down. Nice gentle bend in the knees, coming all the way down. We can cradle one arm and the other and come into our relaxed ragdoll forward fold here. And just gently sway a little bit. Inviting some gentle movement in here can also help us engage the hamstrings. And you can release your arms. Bring your hands to your shins. Inhaling, coming halfway up out of your fold. Exhaling, come down. We're going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, coming halfway up. Exhale, fold. 1 more time. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. You can release your fingertips and then inhale, slowly roll all the way up to stand at the top of your mat. Good. So your abdomen is stacked over your hips, shoulders are also stacked. So you're standing nice and tall. Inhale the arms up, fingertips come to touch. Exhale, swan dive forward. Big bend in the knees. We're going to plant the hands on the mat. Step your feet all the way to the back of your mat, and then your choice. You may want to stay up in this push-up position, or you could lower your knees, untuck your toes. In any case, make sure that you have a nice long line from your shoulders all the way back to the knees, or if you're on toes, all the way back to the heels. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, squeeze your elbows in toward your side and gently lowering all the way down. Belly comes down on the mat, chest down, and forehead comes down. Hands can rest underneath the shoulders. Inhale, coming up into our cobra. Hands can just gently rest under the shoulders. You could even lift them if you want. We're not pushing into the hands. Supporting yourself right from the lower back. Exhale, forehead comes down. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, head comes up. Feeling that lift right from the lower back. Exhale, head comes down. 1 more time. Inhale, coming halfway up. Exhale, down. You can turn your toes under, push up and back to downward facing dog, or just on the knees, pushing up to the knees, opening the heart toward the floor, coming into your modified downward facing dog. Whichever one works for you at this particular moment in time. Whichever you're doing, check in with your breath. Lengthen it out. Make it nice and deep. Really strong hands and fingers here. Staying for one more breath. And on your exhale, begin to make your way onto your feet at the top of your mat. And we'll all meet back up, standing up nice and tall. We're going to go through Warrior 2. So we'll start with our hands on our hips. You can inhale to begin. Exhale, step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. Left foot is going to be, your left heel is directly in line with the arch of the right foot. If you need to wiggle your legs out a little bit to make sure you have room to lunge, you can do that. Make sure the knee is behind the right ankle so that you have room to go forward. So left arm comes forward, right arm comes back, lunge into the left leg, nice and strong. The outside of the back foot is really pushing down into the mat. Your left knee is being pushed out toward the left with the power of your big toe. Big breaths here. This is a power pose. You are a warrior. If you like, you could add in archer arms. Inhale the right arm forward. Exhale, draw back. You can have a choice. You may wish to follow your hand with your eyes. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale it back. One more time. Inhale it forward. Exhale it back. Coming back to our Warrior 2. You're going to turn your left palm up. Scoop the air up and back, coming into Revolved Warrior. Keep lunging down though. Don't let your body rise up. So keep that lunge going. Scooping the air up and back for Revolved Warrior. Really breathing into the left side of the rib cage. One more breath. Coming back to Warrior 2. We're going to inhale and gently rise up in the front leg. Don't lock it out straight, but it is quite a bit more straight than it was. Reach as far forward as you can with that left hand, and then rotate that left hand down. It could come onto your thigh, your shin, ankle. Find your triangle. Right arm straight up overhead. Head and neck are relaxed. You may wish to keep your gaze toward the ground. Out to the side. If you want to challenge your balance, you could try looking up toward your right fingertips. Nice big breath here, allowing yourself the amount of bend in that front leg that you need. It's really tempting to lock legs here and really go for the stretch if you're like me, but don't. Don't do that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Nice big breaths. One last breath. We're going to bring the right arm all the way down. Turn onto your right toes. If you want, you could fold the right side of your mat over. Work that left foot out to the left side, and then gently bring your right knee down onto the mat and untuck the toes. So we're coming into our lunge here. Bring your hands onto your left thigh so that your body can come upward. If you want to do this with a block, just grab that block now, set it by your left instep. So coming up nice and straight, make sure the left ankle is ahead of the left knee so that you have room to go forward and down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, let those hips sink forward and down. Coming into a nice deep lunge. If you're happy here, then you stay right here. If you'd like to explore going a little further in, you could bring your hands down onto your block. Just making sure that you bring the left arm to the inside of the left knee. Otherwise, you're going to block yourself off. If you've come forward and you're finding, nah, that's not really working for me today, no problem. Back the hips off a little. You could even come back up. Just let gravity help you bring the hips forward and down. If you're enjoying this, you want to go a little deeper, maybe even bring your hands off the block. Bring the hands down to the mat. Allow yourself to just find a place where you can sit in sensation. One more last big breath. And then you can back your hips off, draw your left foot back by your right, bring your knees out as wide as your mat, toes come together, and we're just going to come into a child's pose. So forehead comes down to the mat, arms are stretched out overhead. You could take the opportunity to walk both sets of fingertips over to the right. So getting a little stretch through the left side of the body, actively push the left hip down and away. So you're really getting a nice stretch here. If you walk your fingertips to the right, bring them back through center. Walk those fingertips over to the left now. Again, push the right hip down and away so you're getting really long through the side of the body. Nice, long, smooth breaths here. And hands can walk back to center, and we'll come back up onto hands and knees. Your choice here. You may wish to come into the kneeling downward facing dog or come up onto the feet. I'm just going to set the block off to the side for a moment. So come into your version of downward facing dog. Nice big breaths. Strong hands, really opening the heart toward the ground. One more breath. And make your way onto your feet at the top of your mat in a way that makes sense for you. And roll up to stand. And we'll get ready to take it on the other side. So we're going to step the right foot forward. Left foot steps all the way to the back of the mat. That was very clumsy. So that your left foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. The right heel is in alignment with your left arch, and your right ankle is well ahead of your right knee so that you have room to lunge. Right arm comes forward, left arm comes back. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lunge into the right leg, pushing the right knee actively out with the power of the big toe. Really also actively pushing into the outside of the left foot. Nice and stable here, breathing deep. Let's add in the option for archer arms. So inhale, left arm forward if you like it. You can take it or leave it. Exhale it back. Inhale, you could follow with your eyes. Exhale back. Inhale forward. Exhale, draw back one more time. Inhale forward. Exhale, drawing back, coming back to our lunge. Make sure that you haven't risen up. Scoop the right palm up and then scoop it up and back, coming to revolved warrior, making sure you're still lunging deep into the right leg. Nice big stretch here. Breathing into the right side of the body. Coming back to warrior two for one more breath. Exhale, gently rise up in the right leg. So you're not completely locking it straight, but you're straightening it quite a bit. Reach your right arm as far forward as you can, and then rotate that right hand down. Could come to thigh, shin, ankle, or even the floor. Left arm straight up overhead. Your gaze could be at the floor, could be directly sideways, or if you want to challenge your balance, you could gaze up toward your left fingertips, coming into triangle. Noticing how this feels in the right hamstring. So if you need to put a little more bend there to be comfortable, then do that. I'm a sensation junkie. I like to lock my legs, and I always have to remind myself, hey, there's no point in doing that. It's not a contest. There's nothing to be won. Be gentle. One more big breath. And you can lower your left arm down. really bend the right knee, turn onto the left toes. You can work that right knee or right foot out to the right side. You bend the left side of your mat over if you want the extra cushioning, and then set the left knee down, uncurling the toes. Hands can come onto the right thigh, bringing yourself up upright, nice and tall. Make sure that your right ankle is well ahead of your right knee so that you have room to lunge. And also you can bring your block to your right instep. So getting nice and tall. Exhale, lunge those hips forward and down. Let gravity help. So if you're happy right here, then just stay as you are. If you'd like to explore coming a little further in, you could bring your hands down onto your block. Just make sure if you're doing that, that your right arm comes to the inside of the right knee. If you came forward and it's just not working for you today, no problem. Just back it off again. If you'd like to go even a little bit forward, you could come down onto the mat entirely. So moving the hands off the block. No matter which variation you're in, imagine that you have lungs in your hips. I know it's a little preposterous, but you have lungs in your hips and you're breathing right into that area. One more big breath. And you can release, draw your hips back. The right foot can come back by the left foot. This time we'll bring the knees together. The knees together, toes together, hips come back on heels. Set your block off to the side and bring your forehead down. If you'd like to do an arm stretch here, walk your fingertips as far forward as you can. Bring your elbows down onto the floor. Bring your palms together and then bring them to the back of your head. May give you a nice little stretch through the backs of the upper arms. And just slowing down here, noticing the quality of our breath. Seeing if we can slow it down and smooth it out. If your fingertips were up overhead, bring your arms straight back out. We'll come back up onto all fours. So your choice, you might bring your knees hip width apart, turn the toes under, open the heart toward the floor for your kneeling downward facing dog, or you could come onto your feet, hike the hips up and back. In either case, you're really actively pressing down through the base of each of your fingers. Fingers are splayed wide, powerfully pressing into the mat. Heart is opening toward the ground. Toes are curled under. A couple of nice big breaths here. And exhale. You can find your way back onto your feet in a way that makes sense for you. And come up to stand at the top of the mat. We're going to orient ourselves sideways on the mat to come into a wide-legged forward fold. If you need a little water break, you can go ahead and take that. I'm the thirstiest person on earth sometimes. They just hook me up to a drip. All right, so we're going to come into our wide-legged forward fold. So work your feet out on your mat to a place where you feel really stable, but also there's a bit of challenge there. So working those feet out away from each other. You can bring your hands to your hips. Check that you're standing nice and tall before you go anywhere. Your shoulders are down and away. So inhale, thinking about getting as tall as possible. Exhale, coming forward into the forward fold. Your hands can come down toward the floor and you can just relax here. Don't walk your legs out again. Gentle bend stays in the legs. Just staying here for a couple of breaths. Gonna bring our hands onto our shins. Inhale, I want you to come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, coming halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. This time I want you to take a hold of your shins or ankles and actively pull yourself in a little more. Maybe you can pull your chest toward your legs. Just really activating that stretch. And again, bring your hands to your shins. This time coming all the way up to rise. We're going to heel toe our feet in just slightly. So more of a modified wide-legged stance. Bring your arms straight out into a T and bend your arms at the elbow. Have your palms facing in, so you got some goalpost arms going on. We're going to inhale to get tall. Exhale, sink your hips down, coming into goddess pose. I'm going to stay here for a second. Probably immediately start to feel some heat in the thighs. On your inhale, sweep your arms down below you. Inhale, come almost all the way up, but don't walk the legs out. Keep a gentle bend. Exhale, sweeping the arms down. Inhale, coming part way up. It's sort of like grand plie in ballet. So inhale down. Exhale up. Inhale down. Exhale up. Two more. Inhale down. Exhale up. One more. Make it nice and big and slow. Inhale down. Exhale up. Bring your arms out. Come back to your goddess for a second. You can bring your hands onto your thighs. So coming into a slightly supported goddess, and push the left shoulder, pull the right back and look to the right. Kind of just gives you a nice little stretch here. Coming back to center and then pushing left forward. Coming back to center and rising all the way back up. Good work. Continue to heel toe those feet in. Coming up to a narrow hip width stance. Standing nice and tall. We're going to get ready to do our tree. So if you know you'd like the assistance of a piece of furniture or a wall, you can make your way there now. No matter where you're starting from, good foundation. So feet are narrow hip width apart. Abdomen is engaged. The bum is squeezed down and under. Shoulders are broad. Shoulders are down away from your ears. Hands can come to your hips. Before you go anywhere, fix your gaze on a non-moving point 2 to 3 meters ahead of you. Just let your gaze really rest there. You're just totally zoning out on that spot. Could be a fleck of lint on the carpet, could be a piece of art on the wall. Transfer your weight onto your left foot. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale that knee out to the side, and then you can press the free foot into the standing leg. So it could be at the shin, could be at the ankle, could be leaving one toe or multiple toes down. Find the variation that works for you. Really focus on squeezing the glutes up and in. Abdomen is engaged. You're standing nice and tall, and hands can come to heart center. You could grow your tree on this side if you wish, not worrying about shaking, swaying, or even falling out. We won't let that perturb us. We'll just get back in again. Big, smooth breaths. Really actively pushing the free foot and the standing leg into each other. If your arms are up, bring them back through heart center. Back down to the hips. We're going to bring that free leg forward. Inhale the leg up, extend that heel forward. Exhale, slowly lower it to the mat with control. Beautiful. And we'll set up for the other side. So again, before you go anywhere, fix your gaze on that non-moving point and transfer your weight over onto your right foot. Inhale the left leg up, exhale that knee to the side, and then press the free foot into the standing leg. Could be at the shin, the ankle, or toes down. It doesn't have to be the same as the other side at all. Hands can come to heart center. Core is engaged. You are strong, but you allow yourself to bend and sway because that's what trees do. And you could grow your tree on this side and it might look very different from the other side. No two trees are ever exactly alike. Keeping the breath moving, thinking about engaging the core. Hands can gently come back through heart center to the hips. Bring that left knee forward, extend the left foot out, lifting for just a moment, and slowly exhaling the free foot down to the mat. Awesome work. We're going to come down into our squat. So if you know that you prefer to start your squat from a seated position, go ahead and make your way down onto your seat now. In either case, feet are wider than hip width apart and toes are out on a 45-degree angle. If you know that you'd like to come from standing onto a block, you can go ahead and move the block under you before you go anywhere. So no matter what, sitting or standing, knees are wider than hips, toes out on a 45-degree angle. Inhale to begin your squat. Exhale, coming down. If you're already down, see if you can bring the outsides of your arms to the insides of your knees. If you're coming from standing, you might want to wiggle around a little bit just after you come down. And then no matter your variation, find a place where you can just come into stillness. Your hips are actively opening and you can just sit with the sensation and allow yourself to breathe into it. Make sure that you're keeping your torso really upright here. Sometimes we have this tendency to want to hunch into a squat, but try and resist that tall squat. See if you can close your eyes, slow the breath down, smooth it out. Two more breaths. And on your next exhale, if you got a block, move it out of the way. Gently bring yourself down onto your seat, unless you're already there. And then just stay there. Bring your feet more in front of you, about hip width apart. Your hands can come down by the sides, or you could cradle your arms, one and the other, and just gently roll the knees back and forth. As you do that, rolling up onto the outer hip flexor. Just getting a little massaging motion there. Just rolling back and forth. A little bit of balance work here, but also some nice sensation. And then you can come back to center. We're going to extend the legs out in front of us. You can zip them up again. Peel your toes back toward you. Get yourself sitting up as tall as you can. We call this staff pose. So chest is upright, shoulders are broad. Inhale to begin. Exhale, walk your feet, your hands forward toward your feet. So your hands could be by your sides or they could be on your legs, coming into a really active forward fold here. Finding a place where you're coming into sensation and you can just sit with that, breathe into it. Keep those toes active and peeled back. As I always explain to my phys ed students, the more you peel your toes back toward you, the easier it's going to be to reach them. One more breath. And rolling back upright. We will bend our knees, plant our feet, and then allow the knees to part, opening to either side, coming up to sit. So you've got this wide diamond shape with your legs. That we're going to work the outsides of the hip flexors here. So this may be a very subtle movement for you, or maybe you'll have some more distance. So inhale, sitting up tall. Exhale, bring yourself forward. Noticing any sensation that's happening in the hips here. Like I said, you don't have to come far into this to be in feeling it. If you wanted, you could bring your knees up and out a few times, sort of like a butterfly flapping its wings. And then resume coming forward into the stretch. And bring yourself upward. We're going to bring the feet in toward the body a little bit more. So that now we're doing cobblers. So again, the knees are going to relax to the side. Inhale to sit up. Exhale, coming forward. Again, this could be a really slight motion. If you don't have a lot of hip mobility, then your knees are probably going to be up a fair bit. So this could be very slight depending on how your hips are constructed. And coming back upright. We're going to revisit something we did at the beginning of class. So you can plant your left foot, extend the right leg out. We're going to do a twist again. You might be feeling a little more warmed up this time. So you may be able to bring the outside of your right elbow to the outside of the left knee. So inhaling to get tall. Exhale, twisting. Let the head and neck be soft. Trying to relax into this twist. Keep the right toes active and peeling back toward you. Maybe you notice a little bit of difference in this twist from the beginning of class. Maybe you're feeling warmer and you can ease into it a little bit more. And you can release, extend the left leg out, plant the right foot, fist width distance there. Again, you may just wish to use your hand, or you could bring the outside of the right elbow, the outside of the left knee. Inhale to get tall. Exhale and twist. Again, let yourself relax into it. Notice the head and neck. Make sure that you're not leading with those. One last breath. And then you can release. You're going to extend your leg out. We're going to prepare to come down onto our back. So if you're still oriented sideways on your mat, go ahead and orient yourself lengthwise on your mat. Again, feel free to grab some water before we head on down to Bridgetown. We'll also invite you to have your block ready to support your hips and to support your lower back. So we're going to do restorative bridge. So you'll need that block. So just set it right by your hips. So sitting up nice and tall. I want you to release your arms, rock back onto your tailbone, and then gently lift the shins, just coming into boat for a couple of breaths here. So working our balance, engaging the core muscles. And then you can lower your feet, staying back, and then attempt to lower yourself back onto your back as slowly as you can. Coming all the way down. So your head comes down to the ground. Your block is by your hips, ready to go. Plant your feet just below your hips. Feet are hip width apart. Hands are actively pressing into the mat, palm down by your sides. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push your hips skyward. So for the first bridge, we're not going to support. We're just going to actively push through the backs of the arms and the feet. Hips go skyward. With each exhale, see if you can push them a little bit higher. Really strongly pushing down. The harder you push down, the higher the hips can go. One more breath. And sink the hips down. Relax. Gently windshield wiper the knees back and forth a couple of times, allowing yourself to release your lumbar area. So we're going to come into our restorative bridge now. So again, we're starting as before, palms down by the hips. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, push the hips skyward, rising up, really powerfully pushing through the feet and the backs of the arms. Grab your block, slide it under your lumbar region. So above the tailbone, but below the middle of your back. Gently lowering your back onto the block. If you feel like the block's cutting into you, lift again. Adjust until you find that sweet spot, nice and comfortable there. And then you can allow your hands to relax and just come into this nice restorative version of bridge. Slowing down the breath, smoothing it out. If you really like lower back extensions, and some people do, like it's just their thing. If you're one of those people, you could try walking your feet forward so that you extend into it a little more. And some people even like trying to stretch their legs right outright and coming into quite a deep spinal extension here. So you could explore that. I mean, if you explore it and you don't like it, no worries. There's no commitment to buy. Just bring your feet back onto the mat. Two more slow breaths. On your next inhale, push your hips up. Remove your block, just place it off to the side. Backs of the arms and feet pushing strong. Raise those hips up. And exhale, bring them all the way back down to the ground. Windshield wiper the knees again. Releasing the lower back. So we're going to plant the right foot. It's right below your hip. Left leg crosses over right with no gap between the thighs. So, or sorry, with gap. So you're making a figure 4 with your legs. So your left ankle is coming just below the right knee. The left knee is all the way out to the side. So you're making the number 4. And you're just gently encouraging the left hip to open. You may come here and find that this is plenty of sensation for you. You are happy as things are. Just stay right here. If you want to go in a little deeper, hug your right thigh in. Make sure you keep those left toes active and peeled back. So coming into reclining pigeon, your right leg, the lower part of your right leg can relax. And then if you want, you could take circles with your right ankle. Just doing a little multitasking here. But really focus on the left knee staying out to the side and the left toes stay active rather and peel back toward the left knee. So that's where your focus should be. And if you have a hold of your right thigh, gently release it. Right foot comes down, uncross the left leg, and then we'll set up for the other side. So cross the right leg at the ankle, just below the left knee, right knee coming out to the side. Right toes are active and engaged, peeling back toward the right knee. If you come here and you're encouraging the right knee outward and you're finding lots of sensation here, then just stay right here. If you'd like to go a little further, hug the left thigh in, take a hold behind that left thigh. You could also use a strap here. So if you're not quite able to reach, you could use your strap for this. So hugging that left thigh in, making sure that the right toes are actively staying engaged to protect the right knee. And if you wanted, you could multitask and do some ankle circles with the left leg. Not mandatory. Just if you're like me and you've got snap, crackle, pop ankles, then you might enjoy that. Hugging in for 2 more breaths, always encouraging that right knee out to the side, right toes are active. And on your next exhale, you could release your thigh if you have it hugged in, uncross the right leg. We're going to come into a reclining twist now. So if you know that you would like your legs to feel more supported, have your block ready by your left hip. So our body is straight here, head looking straight up overhead. Cross your right leg over your left. This time, no gap between the thighs. Ever so slightly, set your hips off about an inch to the right. Arms can come straight out into a T beside you. Oof, I have a lot of stuff over here. Inhale to begin. Exhale, let your legs relax over to the left side. And if you have a block, they will come down onto that block. If you want more support from the block, move that block in toward your hips. If you'd like to twist a little more deeply, then you can move that block out. Make sure that this right shoulder stays plugged right down in full contact with the mat. If your right shoulder is curling up, then you can come out of your twist a little bit, move that block in to support you just a touch more. Find a place where you can completely release the weight of your legs. So there's no effort to hold your legs up here, and you can totally relax into the twist. If you wanted to explore going a little deeper, you could turn your head to look over your right shoulder. If you do that and it's just not working today, no worries, just bring your head back to center. If your head is off to the side, bring it back upright. Gently bring the knees back up, uncross the legs, and straighten the hips out. We'll move our block to the other side if you're using it. Again, arms can come back out into a T. Across the left leg over the right. This time, no gap between the thighs. Shuffle the hips just ever so slightly over to the left. And then exhale your legs to the right. Again, just maybe grabbing the block. If you want more support, move the block closer to your hips. If you want to twist a little more deeply, you can move the block out a little further, making sure that that left shoulder stays in full contact with the mat. Again, if it's rolling up, come out of your twist until that shoulder comes back down to the mat. So you may need to adjust your block until you find a place where you can release the full weight of your legs and just totally relax. Again, you could explore looking over the left shoulder, just an option, not necessary to do this if you don't enjoy it. Just a couple nice smooth breaths more. If your head is off to the side, bring it straight upright again. Gently bringing the legs up, uncrossing the legs. You can set your block off to the side, out of the way. And I'll invite you to straighten your hips first, and then bring your knees towards your armpits. So squeezing the knees in, making yourself into a little ball. You could even squeeze your head up toward your knees, making yourself tiny little ball. Head can come back down. You could stay exactly like this and roll around on the lower back a little bit, giving yourself a little back massage. If you wanted, you could reach your arms through the insides of the knees, take a hold of the inside or the outsides of the feet, drawing the feet up toward the ceiling for stirrup or happy baby, and continue massaging from here. And then I'll invite you to take any last movements you would like for your practice. So maybe you want to stretch your legs out and extend a little bit. Maybe you just want to get light, nice and long on your mat. Taking a big stretch, whatever feels right in your body. And when you're ready, find your way into Shavasana. So you may want to grab a blanket or a pillow. I've got a nice big throw pillow here that I can put under my knees. Pillow or bolster works. I'm going to grab a little water. Maybe you would like a blanket. Whatever you need to feel completely comfortable in your Shavasana. As you come down into your final resting pose, lift your hips just ever so slightly off the mat and settle them back down, leaving lots of room for your lower back. Your hands could be resting at your side if you just want to release and cool down. If you'd like to conserve some of the heat from your practice, you could bring your left hand over your heart and your right hand onto your belly. And just like we did at the beginning of practice, take a few nice, big cleansing breaths. Inhaling all the way to the top, holding it for a second, and then exhale, releasing. So releasing all the effort of your practice. Releasing all the intentions and expectations. Just allowing yourself to let everything go and to fall into a nice deep relaxation. Let your breath become smooth and natural. Allow your body to become soft and passive and ready to receive the benefits of your practice. If you find that your mind is trying to get off your mat before you are, just gently corral it back by focusing in on your breath. If you wanted, you could take this opportunity to engage in some box breathing. So we haven't done that in a while, so I'll remind you how it goes. So in box breath, we're going to inhale to the count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. So inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Just allow yourself to follow the breathing pattern that works for you. Let your body just totally relax and rest. And I'll be here to let you know when it's time to go. If you are choosing to engage in box breath, I'll invite you to finish your last exhale and then release that practice. Invite your awareness back to your body, noticing how you're feeling at this point in time. No judgment, just noticing. And then you can begin to invite movement back to your body. So gently wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe taking a nice big stretch, like you're waking up all over again. And you can gently roll onto your right side. Pause there for a few moments. And then gently bring yourself up to a seated position. So once you come up to sit, you'd have your legs extended in front of you or cross-legged, sitting up nice and tall. Hands come to heart center. Take an inhale and lower your chin to your chest. 3 things you can't recover in life: the word after it's said, the moment after it's missed, and the time after it's gone. Thank you for joining me for practice today. Namaste. All right, that's our practice for this week. So we'll end the recording.